Welcome to the podcast The Embodiment Talks, a podcast by the Embodiment Lab with Marion van Opijnen. Taking your role as change agent of societal or education systems requires vision and courage. This podcast will help you take this pioneer's role with more body awareness and confidence, without losing sight of the connection with others. We dive into how we as humans are hardwired, how systems change works, and how both are related. I will take you on my own quest, and I will share background information, talk to experts, and share exercises. We will think, feel, and act. Great that you're here, and happy listening. Good morning, I wanted to say, but actually I better say good day, because of course I don't know when you're listening to this podcast. It's a new episode of the Embodiment Talks. It's been a little bit silent over the last few weeks, months, 2 months. I think I didn't record a podcast, but here I am again. And first of all, I of course like to wish you a very happy new year. And I hope for you that all that you desire for will come true in this year for you, and it will be fulfilling whatever is going to happen in this new year for you. And of course, this breaks all the podcast rules, which are like podcasts need to be timeless. So I shouldn't refer to an event that is time bound, which is the new year, but yet I do so for everybody who's listening at this podcast now, at the beginning of this year, or whenever you listen to this, because of course every day a new year starts. And at the same day, the next year, it finishes again, so it doesn't really matter. And also the topic is maybe a little bit time-bound, but also there's a lot in it that is more common that we can refer to. Because I'd like to talk a little bit about resolutions. And I usually don't set resolutions. I did it a while ago, but I noticed that it didn't really work. So I usually set an intention for the year, and usually for half a year, because my birthday is in June. So I set an intention for the first half, and then with my birthday I set an intention for the second half. And my intention for this first half of the year is more playfulness, and to be playful, and to do the things that I do with play. And play is a very broad thing. You probably have pictures when I say that, but it is also a mindset. It's a mindset, for me it is. It's a mindset of lightness and not taking things too serious. So it's to make it a little bit easier. With an easier mindset. So that is my intention for the coming coming half year. But I also like to say a few words about resolutions. And it's not just for resolutions, it's also for intentions. If you set an intention for yourself as well, then you probably also may encounter resistance to really fulfill or live by that intention that you've set for yourself. So what I'd like to talk about is why resolutions may not always work. And there's, of course, a lot to be found on that. But there's two particular things that I would like to refer to. And yes, I also know that it's difficult to change habits and to change behavior. But with the two tips that I'm going to give you, that may help you to make some change. Because what we often do with resolutions is that we want to change behavior. So, for example, if I would think of resolutions for this year, I could think maybe of two, which is one, to create a healthier work-private balance for myself, which I'm doing better and better. So the last few months have actually been quite okay. And but I do tend, and I already know that there's a few months in the coming half year that I'm pretty busy, which is in February and in June, and because there's a lot of assignments that kind of come together in that period. And then I find it challenging to also maintain enough time for myself and to take enough rest, and not to work in the evenings. So it remains a challenge. And another thing is that I may want to eat a little bit healthier, although I do eat pretty healthy. But what I mainly like maybe is to eat a little bit less sugar, and and in that sense to eat a little bit healthier. And also that is something that is easy for a few weeks, but then somehow, for whatever reason, I fall back in usual behavior. And so why is it so difficult to make change? And first of all, and that's probably also why I don't set resolutions very often, is because it's something that I have to do. And every time when it's busy, I need to take a deliberate choice to stop work and take some private time. Or when I have some craving for sugar, I need to take that decision. Okay, I'm not going to do that. And it can sometimes, especially when I'm busy, so they kind of merge together to those two aspects that I've just mentioned. But so especially if I'm busy, it's easier, or I tend to have more craving for sugar. And there's all theories why that is. But anyway, I'm not going into that now. But it's based on something that I want to do. And the first thing I'd like to refer to is, why do I want to do it? What is the reason behind it? Because I feel healthy, I feel fit, I have a lot of energy, I can do the things that I do. So why would I do it? And then if I inquire in that question, like why, what does it do to me? Why would I want to have a better private work-life balance, or resist my sugar cravings a little bit more? It's because what I noticed that if I do that, I actually become a nicer person. I'm more patient with others. I can, it's easier to really get in contact with somebody, to really listen to somebody. I'm less rushed in my daily life. I get more creativity, I get more ideas. So there's a lot of reasons why I would want to create a better work-life balance. And because it does do a lot to me. So instead of having to create something, and then it also comes back to the intention, it's more an intention of being a nicer person. And that is much more of a motivation, because I can think back of those moments that I was more relaxed, and where I had, like, I was more open to others. It was easier to go into in real contact with others, and it's been really fulfilling. So there is a reason for me to wanting to do that. And as I'm doing that, as I said, over the last few months, years, it's getting better and better. I can also notice the difference in my daily life. So there's kind of a reference point for me. I have those experiences in the past, and I can refer back to that, which is a motivation, like, oh yeah, that's the person I want to be. And okay, but then still I get to those points that I think that, oh, I really want to finish this. And then at the end of the evening, I think like, oh, now I worked the whole evening again. And then what? So why is it so difficult? And we have those patterns, there are underlying patterns why we do certain behavior. And yeah, that has become a habit, and it has become a new kind of normal, but there are reasons for that. And so why do I work hard and take too little time for myself sometimes? And I like it, I like my work, I really enjoy it. And so that is also a motivation to do it. But at the same time, I also, I grew up in that time where even the Dutch government had advertisements that a good girl was prepared for the future, which actually meant like, okay, you need to study, you need to get a job, you need to do good, because that will make you independent, especially financially, which is a good thing. So don't get me wrong. I don't want, I do think that independence is a good thing, but it also has a side effect on me, but on many others as well, that okay, I need to do that work, and I need to study to actually be able to reach something in this society. So so it's very normal for me to kind of work hard. It's what I've been told, and the same that also in my family, it's kind of that you need to work for something. So it's just my imprint. So whenever I feel the resistance to create a better balance, that means that I need to face this structure, this pattern inside of me that makes me do the things that I do. And every time that happens again, so it's not that, okay, I know this pattern, and yet I may just fall back in that again. And I again need to elaborate or to inquire in what actually is going on in this moment. What are the emotions that come with that as well? And why is it so difficult to not do something in that moment? It's the same like when I walk away from my desk, I just need to get my mind on something else, and I tend to go to the kitchen, and but actually realizing, okay, I need to relax. It's not that I need to eat something, but I need to relax. So that for quite a time, that took me a deliberate choice, like, okay, I'm not going to the kitchen, I'm going to the living, I'm going to stare out of the window for a little bit, or I go for a little walk around the park or something like that, instead of going to the kitchen and get something to eat. And so it was not the food, but it was more like, oh, I needed something else than concentrating behind my desk. So also that is a pattern that I kind of took as a normal. I even didn't notice it. So it took that inquiry into that to actually be able to make change. So if you really want to make change and live by a certain intention or resolutions, that takes, first of all, that you don't really look at what you do or don't do, but that you look at why you want to do it. So what is the underlying reason? And second, look at the patterns that are underlying that. And so if you feel any resistance, then what is it actually that makes you doing this certain behavior? And you'll find that it's then much easier to meet your resolutions or to live by your intentions or values. So I hope this gave you some nice insights and maybe some valuable information as well that you can incorporate in your life. And so I hope you enjoyed it, and see you at the next episode. Great that you listened to this episode of the Embodiment Talks. Please let me know your thoughts about this episode or the insights that you gained. Email me to the address in the show notes. If you want to get in touch with me, Or if you have a question or topic that you want to know more about, don't hesitate to send me an email as well. Do you want to be kept up to date? Like this podcast in your favorite podcast app. You can help me by giving a thumbs up or leaving a comment so that this podcast will reach more people. You can find more information about my work on my website www.embodimentlab.nl or my YouTube channel Embodiment Lab. Thanks for listening and meet you at the next episode.